Hey, how you doing? Scott here from Scott's Bass Lessons again. Hope you're well. If you haven't been to scottsbasslessons.com yet, make sure you do so straight after this lesson because you're going to find hours and hours of free video tutorials on there. And make sure when you go there as well, you sign up to the newsletter because as soon as you sign up, you're going to get sent free exclusive lessons that you can't find on YouTube. I keep them especially for my subscribers and it's some of my best stuff. So make sure you do that and you get sent some other goodies as well. Today I'm going to be talking about intervallic scale sequences. It sounds really complicated. It isn't that complicated. What they're used for is to give your lines, your soloing lines, more hills and valleys, basically. I'm sure you've listened to great soloists and their solo lines aren't just a linear sort of like they've kind of got these really nice hills and valleys in them, and this is generally because they're using intervallic sequences or intervals and then using intervallic sequences within them. So I'm going to stop talking about intervallic sequences and just show you what an intervallic sequence is just before your brain explodes. An intervallic sequence, we're going to, in this tutorial, we're going to be talking about everything in the key of C major, by the way. So actually, let's just go over the C major scale and then I'm going to tell you what an intervallic sequence is. So C major, okay? So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And again. And I could carry on going. C, E, C, D, E, F, and then I could even go up to there. Well, I could actually go up here as well. It's all over the neck. But as far as we're talking about, we're going to be talking around this area, okay? Now, an intervallic sequence is where you use a sequence of notes that are at the same interval. So you could have thirds or fourths or fifths or sixths or sevenths. Okay, now a third is, so I'm starting on the root of the C major scale and I count up 3 notes, 1, 2, 3. So that interval there is a third. Now the next note of the C major scale is the D. So I play the D and I count up 3 notes from the D. 1, 2, 3. So that note there, the F, is the minor third of D. So boo da, doo da. Can you hear a pattern starting? Now the next note in the C major scale is an E. If we count up 3 notes in the C major scale from the E, 1, 2, 3, that's a third there. So we've got, carry on, we've got F, G, F and A, sorry. We've got G and B. Okay, so G, B, A, C, B, D, and then a C, okay? I'm sure you've heard that melody loads. Do dee do da dee da 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 da. You can do it backwards as well. So backwards would be C, A, B, G, A, F. I don't know if my voice goes this low. G, E, and then onwards, okay? Now that's an intervallic sequence using thirds. We could use fourths. Okay, so we've taken the C major scale, we count up 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. So C to F, then up another note, C to D, and then D, we count up 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the E, you can see it's kind of sort of like just going across the fret, these ones, but it does get more complicated when you get to this F here, because it's that movement there. So I'm just going to play it in fourths. In fifths. So again, you take your C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boo-da. Second note, D, 5 up from D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boo-da. Next note is E, 5 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boo-da. And then you carry on through the scale like that, so you get. With sixths as well, sixths are great, and a lot of people use sixths. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's C to A. Then you've got the D, D to B, E to C, and then carry on. So you go. Now I know these kind of sound just random at the minute, and you're like, okay, yeah, wicked, interval sequence, how can I actually use that within a solo line? And a great exercise is to try playing in between a linear line, and then in between your linear lines, inject some of these interval sequences. And you've got to be, a great practice thing to do is to almost just choose one and think, okay, I'm going to go back and forward between a linear line and a interval sequence. Okay, so a linear line is exactly what it says on the packet. It's a straight line through the scale. So you could start on the C and just go, that's a linear line. Or you could go, these are straight lines, okay? I'm not skipping any notes, there's no intervals, I'm just literally running up and down the scale. But there's a lot of mileage you can get out of just doing this as well. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. In fact, we'll talk about how to spice up your linear lines a little bit, and then we'll talk about how to inject your intervallic sequences in between your linear lines. And by doing this, your solos are going to sound so much more interesting, and you'll also create ideas for yourself while playing. This is what happens. You'll be playing, you'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds amazing, oh wicked, and then you can carry on the idea because you know the sequence. So let's see this in action. So let's take a look at the linear lines, okay? We've got the backing track. This backing track, by the way, is available for download. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the link below, it'll take you straight to the page. If you're watching this on scotsbasslessons.com, it is right underneath this video. It will say download backing track or something along the lines anyway. So back to it. Let's play the C major scale and just hear it along with the track to hear what it actually sounds like. And when I'm playing it, I'm really trying to listen to what each note sounds like on top of the backing track. I'm really trying to put a personality behind each note, you know, trying to see what that flavour, what does a third sound like over it. 9, 7, 5th, 7, 9. No, each have got their own different flavour, so really try and play slowly. It's not, this isn't a speed exercise. Really slow it down and listen to what it sounds like on top of it. So the linear lines, instead of just playing I'm just playing a linear line there. Instead of doing that, what I want you to do is be much more musical with it. Try and be much more rhythmic, and rhythm is the key. You can be so much more musical if you're more rhythmic, okay? So I'll play a linear line. It'll be just in one direction, okay? Just with the C major scale. I'm not going to miss any notes out, but I'm just going to be rhythmical with what I'm playing, and it's going to sound 100 times better, hopefully. Actually, repeated there, put a little interval in. And again. Still all linear lines. Okay, so now let's swap between doing a linear line and an interval sequence using thirds, okay? You'll see how it just brings a little bit of depth and more ideas into play. Okay, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to shout out when I do the interval sequence. All this is linear. Okay, interval sequence. Linear. Sequence. Linear. All linear. Sequence. All sequence. I'm messing around with the rhythm here as well. Linear. So that's just using thirds in one position. Now let's try and use fourths and mix that with a linear playing, okay? Okay, linear line. Linear. Fourths. Linear. Fourths. Linear. Fourths. Linear. Fourths. Linear. Now let's try fifths. Linear. Fifths. Fifths. That was just a C major arpeggio. Linear again. Now sixths. Linear. Six. Linear. Six. Linear. So hopefully there you'll be able to see how I'm, there's much more, there's a plan behind it. That's what I'm saying. It's not just, I'm not just randomly running up and down and these ideas are coming down from the heavens and just, I'm getting these spontaneous ideas. Yeah, some ideas are spontaneous, but there is method behind the madness. I'm thinking, okay, linear line. I'm hearing it more than anything. And that's what the key is to practicing this type of thing. Once you've practiced it, then you'll begin to hear them lines. When I'm playing, I can hear these lines. I'm sure you've seen players that solo and sing at the same time. And that's a great thing to do because it makes your phrasing a little bit more humanistic. You almost have to leave space and stuff to breathe when you're singing along. But what you'll hear is they're actually making the notes. They're singing the notes that they're playing generally, and that's because they can hear what they're going to play. Now they can hear what they're going to play because they've practiced this stuff. They know what an interval of a sixth sounds like, and they've got it into their lines. But you can't do that until you practice this kind of stuff and make sure it's internalized within your ear and you can actually hear hear the thirds, hear the fourths, hear the fifths from anywhere. And also, you might be thinking, well, how can I use this on top of chord sequences? And that is very true. You know, sometimes you might get a C minor, an F7, and then a B flat major 7 or something like that. It could be a bar of each. And that's where working out key centers really helps. Now, unfortunately, there's not enough time to, you know, delve into key centers right now. But I'll just say this: the key, this is a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat major, C minor, F dominant 7, B flat major. Now, all them chords are found within the B flat major scale. So that means I can play the B flat major scale over the entire thing, which means, like, sometimes, yeah, I want to maybe outline the changes. But, you know, I'm using these 6 here. I'm still using them. So almost your brain has to, you know, has to speed up a little bit. But even though you're practicing these intervals over just one major chord, over a major chord or a major key, because you're practicing the intervals, when it comes to playing over changes, you will start to hear those intervals. Does that make sense? You'll actually start to hear them. You have to practice them in this context first, and then, you know, take what you've practiced in this context into a chordal environment where it's changing every bar, or a few chords every bar sometimes, and then work out how you can get these intervals into those chords. But in that specific scenario, C minor to F7 to B flat major 7, you could actually play B flat major over the entire thing. You might not want to do that all the time, but it's always good to know that you can do that. Hopefully you've enjoyed this lesson. If you have, see that like button below? Click it for me, will you? That'd be wicked. And if you're watching this on my website as well, there's a like button down there as well. Make sure you get to my website, download the backing track that goes along with this lesson so you can practice this and get these techniques into your own playing as well. That's what I want you to do. I don't want you to just watch these videos on YouTube. I want you to watch them on YouTube. I want you to take it and put it into your own practice time. It's really important for me that you actually get it into your playing. Other than that, I've got some more lessons coming your way, so keep an eye out for them. Take it easy and get in the shed.